Hello, my name is Matthew Pfeiffer with Matt Pfeiffer Coaching. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. On this channel, I talk about all things narcissism. I answer the emails of people who are viewers of this channel. They send them to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com, and I answer all their questions right here on the channel for everyone to listen and to view. And if you have a question that you would like for me to answer right here on my YouTube channel, you can send it to justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Make sure that the email is 2 to 3 paragraphs max, being very direct and to the point about your question, because I have a lot of emails to get through. I also have paid coaching clients that I have to talk to throughout the day. And I also have a lot of DMs on my social media platforms that I answer as well. So if you can keep it very straight to the point and brief, 2 to 3 paragraphs max, and I will get to it. Just give me a little bit of time because, like I said, I do get a lot of emails. But the fastest way to get in touch with me is to book a paid coaching session by going to mattpfeiffercoaching.com. And that's the fastest way to book a session with me, and I'll answer anything that you want. Also, and all of these things are also going to be in the description as well, but make sure you hit the bell notification. Make sure you hit the subscription notification so you're notified each and every time I upload a new video. I upload new videos 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, right here on the YouTube channel. So thanks for tuning in. With that being said, let me get to this email. So this email reads, saw your TikTok where you said you would answer questions on YouTube. And that is correct. If you're not following me on TikTok, you should. It's one of my favorite platforms. It's probably the most active platform I'm on. If you enjoy my content here on YouTube, you would like the things I put out on TikTok as well. And this email continues, been married for 14 years, together 15. When we argue, if I disagree or call him out on his BS, he will stomp off like a toddler and sulk in the bedroom for at least a day. Sounds like narcissism to me so far. When we have miscommunication, I apologize, but he gets upset. Then he says he has spent his whole life saying the wrong thing. He says that he's been spending his whole life saying the wrong thing, playing victim. Quite often, so narcissists never want to compromise. They never want to meet in the middle. So a lot of times, like she said, she calls him out on his BS, and all of a sudden he stomps off like a toddler. And then when they have a miscommunication, he wants to play victim. Right? He says, I've had such a bad childhood. It's always either or. There's never a middle ground where they are understanding. And part of it is because they lack empathy. So this email continues, but I never say that he's wrong. So she never tells him that he's wrong. She just says there's a miscommunication. I'll say, so she says to him, I misunderstood, and it's like I've hit a trigger of some sort of childhood trauma. That's a possibility, right? Because all narcissists have childhood trauma, as do their victims. So it's important that you know, people who are listening to this, that the victims of narcissistic abuse have childhood trauma as well. So there's the likelihood of him having childhood trauma is very high, but these are also, and that's a lot of the reason why they act this way. And before you continue, because I know down below, a lot of people are going to say, well, let's just heal their childhood trauma, right? Much easier said than done, because narcissists are not aware, right? They don't accept any responsibility. And the minute that, and I've had a lot of narcissists in my counseling office, and they won't go there, right? They don't accept any responsibility. They just won't allow to accept any responsibility for anything, even their childhood trauma. And without there being any type of level of awareness, it just won't go anywhere. And before you start sending me all of your narcissistic exes and significant others, I don't take narcissists anymore. The ones that I did take at one point in time were court appointed because they were struggling with an addiction. So don't start referring me to narcissists, because it won't work. They will likely hit the eject button before we even start. That's typically what happens. So this email continues. He will not go to counseling until a few months ago when he said he would he would go, but only, let me start that sentence over. He will not go to counseling until a few months ago when he said he would go, but only to tell the counselor about my faults. Going back to what I just said about when I see a narcissist, right? They are typically coming to see me to try to manipulate me to believing that that there's something wrong with the victim. And that's what he's basically saying here, that he's readily admitting, he's tipping his hand that he plans on triangulating the counselor to believing that his wife is that there's something wrong with her, which is very true of narcissists. They like to triangulate the therapist. They really just go to the therapist to play games and to project their problems onto other people, but they have no intentions on making any actual changes or accepting any responsibility or fault on themselves. And when the counselor holds them accountable for things that are their fault, they just leave. They just won't. They won't put up with it, and they just won't participate, and they just leave. This email continues. I manage the money, and he gets upset if I say we can't afford something. We make decent money, but can't afford everything. And when I ask how much something costs so I can budget, he gets upset. Why does he get upset? Because there's boundaries. Boundaries are a narcissist's kryptonite. When you set boundaries, when you try to budget, when you say there's a limit, there's a cap to how much we can spend, there's a limit, there's a cap to how much we can do, even though that's real life, they get pissed off. That mask begins to slip. When I say there's something I need to purchase and I know we have the money, he says no because we can't afford it. Quite often, a narcissist will do these things because you've told them no. So this is when you tell a narcissist no, it causes a narcissistic injury. So they feel entitled to pay you back to punish you for you telling them no. So this is him more than likely trying to get you back. In some cases, I buy the item anyway because because it may have been something I or we could really use. While I am safe, I have an exit strategy. Very good. So for those of you who are watching, an exit strategy, you come up. I tell my people I work with, come up with a plan A and a plan B. Plan A, let's say that it might take you 3 months to execute plan A. You need to save money, you need to find a place, you need to hire an attorney if you're married, have a plan for the kids, and then begin to execute on that plan. Find a place, wait till your significant other goes to work, take the things that you need and exit. But you also need a plan B because if the narcissist discovers plan A, it could get physical, could get violent, it could get very, very ugly, very nasty fast, and you might need to leave with the clothes on your back. So that is plan B. So she's talking about that she has an exit strategy. She has an exit strategy, which is very good. So she knows that she wants to leave because I know once I say I want to leave, I will be kicked out. Very good. You're aware, right? That because once again, when you say these type of things, I want to leave, I want a divorce, it causes a massive, when I told you about a narcissistic injury earlier, when you want to leave, it causes a massive narcissistic injury. They're going to lose their shit, right? And it gets ugly fast. Quite often, when you leave a narcissist, you see a side of them that you never thought you would see before, right? So very good planning this thing out. I would still be very careful. And so you understand that you'll be kicked out. So make sure, obviously, that you'll be able to find a place. And she continues, I'm a bit concerned that I am the narcissist over time because, let me reread that. I'm a bit concerned that I am the narcissist over time because I've become withdrawn with my feelings and moving on. This feels selfish. This is very, very common for a victim of narcissistic abuse, in particular when they leave, to feel selfish, to feel like they are the narcissist, because when you describe narcissism, it describes some of the things that they are doing. They're discarding, They are going no contact, and it feels very selfish. But what you are doing is very different. Not only is it different, not only are you doing it because of the safety and you're not leaving for someone else, which is typically what a lot of narcissists do, but you're also very self-aware of the things that are going on, which narcissists are not. You're not projecting. You're not. You are, and even here, you're actually accepting. There's a willingness to accept responsibility. You have self-awareness. Narcissists don't even ask if they're a narcissist. Typically, if they do, they really wouldn't care anyway. Because to them, they would just spin and manipulate it to, well, it sounds like a good guy to me, like sounds like someone that has leadership qualities. And they would just jokingly act like it's not that big of a deal, and then project it onto someone else. From the sounds of this email, it doesn't sound like you're a narcissist. It does sound like, and the other reason why people feel like they are the narcissist is because you have to keep in mind that people who are the victims of narcissistic abuse typically struggle with codependency, meaning that they don't have or they lack a self-identity. Well, keep in mind, she was with this gentleman for 15 years. And so for 15 years, he's been projecting how he feels on the inside onto her, right? So she has no identity, and he's projecting an identity onto her, telling her that she's selfish, telling her that she is this, that she is that. So she is made to feel and made to believe that she is the narcissist, which from the sounds of it, she is not. So that's something that's very common. I typically tell people, if you're asking, and the fact that you're even writing this, narcissists don't write into me asking these questions and asking how to figure these type of things out, taking responsibility for their actions, coming up with an exit plan, those sorts of things. That's just not a narcissistic style. Narcissistic style is very impulsive. Hit the eject button. I already found someone new. I've moved on. I've done this. Let's get married after a month of being divorced. That's narcissistic style. So this sounds much more like an educated empath, an educated codependent. So I would do some things to understand codependency and start to develop a sense of self. And this is not selfish. This is actually self-love that you're doing, right? You may have heard me say things. I'm not the one that coined this phrase. You can't set yourself on fire trying to keep someone else warm. You staying in this situation, the only person that it benefits is the narcissist that you're dating or that you're married to, not you, because he will continue to act this way, and he will continue to do these things until you are completely wiped of all your resources, wiped mentally, wiped emotionally. So you're doing the right thing. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget, send me an email, justaskmatt@mattpfeiffercoaching.com. Make sure it's 2 to 3 paragraphs max, being very direct and to the point. If you want my help directly, make sure you go to mattpfeiffercoaching.com to book a session. All of my links to all of my social media will be down in the description. And until then, next time, I will talk to you then.